It is the Lion Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne, in the Villain Studios right here. And thank you, everybody, for joining the program. We're broadcasting live right now into the Lions Villain Squad with our 52,000 plus in there, going strong over there at Detroit Lions News Podcast, broadcasting there with Joe Chap and the boys. Great content over there. Oh, blue collar, baby. Let's do this. And then don't forget Monday nights with Main Event Mike. Great show last night. He should be joining me here shortly. And also broadcasting live into JC Sports. And that is a YouTube page along with our Villain Squad YouTube page and our brand new partner right here at the NFL Huddle Sports, NFL on Huddle Sports Network on Roku. Join the conversation. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is you're doing. Hit that like button. It's free. The like button is free. If you like football content, we do this every day at 10 a.m. talking football, mostly Lions football. Preseason is here. How the hell is everybody doing? It is Tuesday, baby. What's up, Davey? Davey's the first person that gets in there, right? Maybe 10 o'clock isn't the great Tuesday time for everybody right here. And there's Main Event Mike. It seems like a good time for Mike to come in on Tuesday.
Good morning, villains.
I still ain't got my stuff. I've been looking online right now to try to find something that I can get my drops back with. So, with our no budget, we're gonna try to figure this thing out and get there. Fred Peterson's been helping us out, though. We wouldn't be able to have the stuff that we have, the things that we have because of Fred Peterson. Our fine Patreon right there. Thank you for joining the program. Good morning. It's a great day to be a Lion. One pride. Got Fred Peterson in there.
I'm starting to get used to you being the human drop machine.
You like that?
Yeah, I love that.
I've been working on a good LA Knight impression. I want to make sure that I bust it out and I get it down really, really well before I bust it out. I thought about busting it out, a weak version of it, yesterday or even today, but I want to work on it because I think it could be an epic drop when I get done with it because it's a shameless way to go ahead and promote my wrestling page, which let's see if we can find this here.
Are you doing impressions this morning? Because I have a request.
You have a request?
I have a request for an impression. I want you to do an impression of driving through Chicago at 55 miles an hour and a Kawasaki Ninja goes by.
So if you've ever driven through Chicago before, and you don't know this unless you've been in Chicago, and I know that you've been through Chicago, Mike, it's 55 mile an hour through a lot of the I-80 stuff as you're going across the state, right? You're getting into that Chicago traffic. And it's 55 mile an hour. And by the way, if you're going 55 mile an hour on that, you're dead. I mean, unalived. That's what Pete would say. You're unalived in there because if you're driving 55, it's like this. And then every once in a while, there'll be a Kawasaki Ninja. You'll get yourself up to about 80, 85 mile an hour. You're keeping up with the flow, right? And then you'll see the Kawasaki Ninja with all these people going 85, just zipping in and out, going in between the lanes, Mike. This is not even a lane. It was the space that's, in between the spot you're supposed to keep between the truck and the car. These guys are hitting that shit, dude. I couldn't believe it. I thought that I had a lot of courage on the road, but I'll tell you what, Chicago fans, you guys got the craziest drivers in the United States of America. No doubt.
You did it the other day and you said, view. It was so accurate. It sounded right spot on.
And then you're like, if you're going 55, you're doing this with people that are just going regular speed. You will die on the road in Chicago, if you go the speed limit, you just will. It is what it is. But in the Zoe podcast, I gotta put a shout out right here. Great day to be a Viking fan. You see JJ out there. Yeah, we see all of the preseason guys out there in the Zoe podcast. We're all drinking the Kool-Aid. Not Viking Kool-Aid, not purple Kool-Aid. We're drinking Honolulu blue Kool-Aid, but we got a whole bunch of guys that are out there that are killing it in training camp too. Oh, wow, look at this guy. You better watch out. Nobody knows about this guy. Every team in the NFL is doing that right now. Oh, my 6th-round draft pick. You don't know about him yet. Okay, cool. All right, JJ with the biggest contract in wide receiver history. Nobody is not seeing JJ coming.
And he's talking about JJ McCarthy.
Very good.
JJ McCarthy.
Well, just JJ to JJ.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't that going to get confusing for Viking fans? JJ to JJ.
JJ's looking good.
Is it Greg Joseph, the kicker? GJ. Yeah,
but watching JJ McCarthy, it's like he didn't do very good against the best defense he faced. You know, when the 3s and 4s got out there, he killed it. You know, got a couple dishwashers and a drywaller out there. He toasted them, killing them drywall. But yeah, I don't really like I said yesterday in the Zoe. You weren't in here yesterday, but what my take on preseason is, you're not going to get me too high and you're not going to get me too low on any player on any team right now, because we're not running schematics. We're playing checkers out there. Nobody's playing the chessboard. Nobody's setting up the first quarter to kill them in the fourth quarter. Nobody's doing that right now. It's like, I want to see how my player plays with handoff, right off tackle. Like they want to see each of these players in their situations. So I'm not going to get too high or too low on any of those guys. Actually, I thought Jordan Love was the most impressive of the NFC North quarterbacks yesterday. Or not yesterday, but over the weekend. And that's not saying much, right? Jordan Love, he was 2 for 2, Mike. But that throw was on a rope. That was impressive. What an impressive throw that was to score a touchdown. And he drops the mic and says, "Hey, Clifford, get in there. Take care of my light work," right? So what were your – let's give an overall thought of the NFC North and how they performed in their first preseason game, preseason.
I think it's quarterbacks that dominate the conversation all the time, right? It's quarterback play that drives this league. And Jordan Love's the only starter that played other than Caleb Williams, obviously a rookie. So I thought Caleb Williams was the most impressive to me. Just the way he looked, his pocket awareness, keeping his eyes downfield, fired a strike for a first down between 3 defenders. Kid's going to be the real deal. We already know Jordan Love is the real deal. I'm sold on Jordan Love. I know you're not so much, but Caleb Williams, I'm sold already. I know he's going to take some lumps. He might only win 6 games this year, but he's not Mitch Trubisky. He is not Justin Fields. He is something different, and they are going to be a handful this year and the years coming. And then when they get a new stadium and they don't have to play on that parking lot called Soldier Field, they're going to be even harder to deal with, because then free agents are going to want to come there more. So the Bears, Ryan Poles definitely aligning himself to move into that, top 10 GM conversation. He may not be there yet, but he's definitely making the moves to get himself there. I can promise you this. After that second preseason game by the Bears where they beat the Bills, and by the way, that was against the Bills' #1 defense, which, don't get me wrong, it's not the same #1 defense as a couple of years ago from Buffalo. The amount of players they've lost is amazing. But that was against the first-string defense that Caleb came out there on them first couple of series. So that makes it even more impressive to me. J.J. McCarthy, he started out against the 2s, and he struggled. And then when he had the 3s and 4s, like you said yesterday, Russ, he hit some receivers that were completely wide open. But I do like J.J. McCarthy's mental aspect of his game. He might not be as gifted athletically or have the arm talent as Caleb Williams, but the between the ears things, I'm 100% sure that JJ McCarthy has all of that in order.
Yeah, I love I love that you said that about JJ McCarthy because he did struggle against the two. But here's the situation in of the two quarterbacks. It's like Caleb Williams has to be the guy. There is no other choice in the matter. It's like you got to go out there. If you're not the man, that's it. And you know what? To me, when I looked at it, I'm not as high on the Caleb Williams performance as you were, but he didn't stink up the joint or anything. He looked like he belonged. He looked like he could be out there. I'm not going to give that much credence to what he did out there because it's just preseason. And JJ McCarthy, he did struggle against the twos, but here's the thing. They don't have to worry about that. They have Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is going to start week 1. I don't know. I mean, if you guys want to drink the Kool-Aid all the way up until and I may be surprised, I'll come in and say that I'm wrong, but if I'm looking at it first glance, that Sam Darnold looks like the better of the two quarterbacks. And if there's a big gap right now between the two quarterbacks, I think Sam Darnold is a pro. And really, it's the best cast of characters that Sam Darnold's ever got to start for in his career.
No doubt about that. And I'll tell you another thing. Sam Darnold's going to have to play himself out of the job because if you bring in JJ McCarthy, there was a lot of talk even around Minnesota that drafting JJ McCarthy, it's okay if he didn't play this year because he needed time to develop. Everyone knew JJ needed some time to develop. But Sam Darnold, it's all going to be predicated on what the Vikings do through the first, maybe 6 weeks, right? If they come out 1-5, you're going to see JJ McCarthy sooner rather than later because those reps are what's most important for a young quarterback. And if they come out of the gate 4-2, they're going to let Sam Darnold keep going, especially a guy like Kevin O'Connell, who was a backup quarterback in the NFL. He knows what it's like to wait your turn, get your shot. And he's not going to rip that away from Darnold just to appease the fans. If they're, say, even 3-3, I think a 50-50 record keeps Sam Darnold in the game on the schedule as through the first 6 weeks. That's just my opinion there.
Yeah, and when I look at the Sam Darnold versus JJ McCarthy situation, now here's the thing: we're not a troll show, guys. I am not going to say anything on here just to be the troll or I'll preface it that way. If I'm trolling, I'll let you know that I'm trolling. This is not a troll by saying that Sam Darnold is going to be your starting quarterback. Just like last year, it wasn't a troll when I said that the Chicago Bears would trade Justin Fields and they would draft Caleb Williams number 1 overall, and you guys killed me for it. It's like I'm just trying to predict what I'm seeing out there. And right now, Sam Darnold is the better quarterback, and that's not a slight on JJ McCarthy. And here's what you definitely do not want to do if you're the Minnesota Vikings. You do not want to start JJ McCarthy and have him struggle and then pull him out of the game and then put Sam Darnold in.
Right.
Because then you're going to destroy this kid's confidence, and he's going to think he can't play in the NFL. So this is a trickier decision than most Viking fans would think that it is. It's just like, we drafted a cornerback and ready, get him in there.
I agree with that, Russ. That's an old narrative in the NFL too. Is if you put in a young quarterback and then you pull him, you shatter his confidence. Have you ever seen some JJ McCarthy interviews or anything? This kid is so mentally sharp. Like he meditates before games, and this is the part that he's got down in spades. I think if there's an exception to that rule, JJ McCarthy might be it. J Mommy sure loves JJ McCarthy. I think she's gonna have to change her name to JJ Mommy.
And you know what? That's not gonna. If that happens, Mike, that's not gonna surprise me that much, right? I'm not gonna go, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're making a big mistake by putting in McCarthy over Darnold. It is what it is. This is why you do that. But the thing is I think the average NFL fan does not give the bottom end quarterbacks credit that are in, the bottom starting quarterbacks, like they're bad. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that they're bad quarterbacks. It may be opportunity. It may be, different scenarios. They draft somebody ahead of you. Like, there's a lot of different scenarios why a quarterback would be the backup. And it doesn't even necessarily mean that he's not the better quarterback, So
yeah. Sam Darnold is no slouch. One thing to keep in mind, I loved the signing when the Vikings signed Sam Darnold. I thought it was a great signing. I thought being in San Francisco last year, watching Kyle Shanahan call plays, I mean, he didn't get to play. He had to sit there and watch a guy, 7 years younger than him, take the team to the Super Bowl. But I think that would have been good for him as well. But one thing to keep in mind about Sam Darnold, he came out of college at 20 years old. He came into the pros at 20. He's only just turned 27 years old. He's very young in quarterback years. He's got a long time ahead of him. If you remember in 2022, when they beat the Lions, the Carolina Panthers beat the Detroit Lions, Sam Darnold looked like the second coming of Dan Marino in that game because the running game was working. And now that you've got Aaron Jones there, you've got a good offensive line. I'm not going to say great or even decent. You have a good offensive line in Minnesota. I think this is a situation, to your point, Russ, this is the best situation he's ever been in. He got drafted to the Jets at 20 years old. That was a terrible Jets team. He averaged 1.8 interceptions per game, historically bad. Turning the ball over was his number one knock on Sam Darnold. Now here he is, 7 years in the league, and every time that he gets to start, that interception number has been dipping and dipping and dipping. So he's a much better player now than he was when he came into the league. Like, you could say that about any player, I suppose. But at the quarterback position, it's so crucial that you grow, develop, and get better, because none of these guys come in right into the league and light it on fire as a rookie. Very, very few and far between. So I think this is a great place for Sam Darnold to be. I think this is a great place for Vikings fans to have Sam. You're very lucky to have Sam Darnold, said no one ever, to start the first game of the season for the Minnesota Vikings, and let JJ come along the right way. Let him see how a pro does it. A guy who's made a ton of mistakes in this league can teach you a lot about what potholes not to step in along the road.
I mean, you went from last year, you had like an injured Kirk Cousins and Nick Mullins and the corpse of Dobbs, and this situation that they're in is much, much better. I mean, you got to remember, Sam Darnold was drafted to a bad team at number 4 overall. And you know what they do in bad teams? They throw him right out there and go, hey, good luck. And then when he's not successful right off the bat, everyone goes, oh, he's not very good. He sucks. And it's like, no, he went to a shitty situation. And then he goes from the New York Jets to another shitty situation in Carolina. And then he gets to go, and then he starts the backup tour. And this has been the first real opportunity that he's had since he went and took the backup tour. And now here he is, and he's got a chance to start. Now, granted, he's got another dude behind him and McCarthy. And that's a question I want to throw out to my Viking fans out there is, like, are you guys already so sold that you're willing to kick Sam Darnold to the back, take a chance on his mental? And I believe you, Mike. He is mentally strong. The meditation thing, I do give credence to that. I think it's important that you take silent time and really, and look at your life in that way. And McCarthy does that. So I don't think that he would get shaken, even if they put him in and then it didn't work and then they had to pull him out. But why do that when you have Sam Darnold? If Sam Darnold is your clear guy, you don't need to force J.J. McCarthy out there. And I want to know what In the Zoe thinks about that and Sarah thinks about that. I'm pretty sure I already know what Sarah's answer is going to be because she's ready to have J.J. out there. I think that she may even propose to him sooner than later. But I want to know what you really think about that. Steve's still on the Rattler train right here. And I'll tell you what, I got to give Steve credit on this one, because if this comes out to be true or even close to true, even if he's a starter, nobody saw that coming except for Steve. Yeah.
Jeremy B says it's easy to have a great completion percentage when you throw the football less than 25 times a game. Talking about J.J. McCarthy in college. Unless you're Justin Fields.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy, the jury, he's proven that he can be a leader. And, I'm not going to overanalyze anybody in college, coming into college, good or bad. Oh, wow, look at what he did I'm not, but, oh, my God, he threw so many interceptions. Yeah, look at Josh Allen. Look at these top quarterbacks. Some of them struggled with interceptions in college, maybe because they were on a bad team or whatever. So you got to see what they do here. You got to see. And it did look a little bit fast for McCarthy against the better defense. But but when the defense backed down, it killed him. So there's that word again. Sorry about that. Go Lions, JJ Mommy. Let's get in here to the conversation. We got Jeremy B in here quite a bit. I would say JJ is a typical full college game stat line, 188, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick versus the 2s and 3s. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I think that we're trying to undersell right here. Is that what is that the strategy here, Jeremy? We're going to undersell what JJ McCarthy's doing. Come on. That's the only secondary in the league that was worse than the Vikings. It's the Bills. Okay, so we're undermining that. So he doesn't get a credit for actually making the throw. Because the thing is the stat line's there, Jeremy. It's there. He did it. And, I mean, however it happened, like, I don't like the micromanaging the win or micromanaging afterwards and being like, well, that one throw could have been a little more accurate. Oh, man, they could have opened up that hole a little bit more on that one. And next time they might not be able to do that. It's like they did it. They made it work within that play. He scored the touchdown. He threw 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. And I'm going to let the Viking fans have that. Why not? I mean, McCarthy led the nation in play action and 3rd and long completion percentage. JJ Mommy. JJ Mommy in here. She's always got a good smart take on that. That means that he was good when he needed to be, right? They didn't have to be good all the time, but when he needed to be good, he was good.
I need Broski Bear to explain Talcum X to me because I love how it sounds. There's the punchline. I just need the setup now, Broski.
Where's that one at?
Near the bottom. He says he's definitely not sold on Spencer Rattler, a.k.a. Talcum X.
Is that like a foot powder?
No, I think it's because he's like mulatto, maybe, or he's freckly, or because Malcolm X was freckly. Yeah, but it's a white powder is talcum. So I love the punchline. I just need to hear the setup now.
Oh man, let's see what we got in here.
While you're looking, can I make this point?
Go ahead.
I've wondered in the semifinal against Alabama, Michigan versus Alabama. What a great historic game that was, not just for Michigan fans, but for college football fans. An exciting game, came right down to the last play. 2 powerhouses, 2 storied franchises. Many people looked at the winner of that game as going to be the national champion, and that held to be true. But what if Terrion Arnold doesn't drop that interception? What if Alabama goes on to win that game? Does J.J. McCarthy then get drafted so high? I don't think so. I think there was a lot of people talking on draft day that J.J. just wasn't ready. He needed another year in college. Many people were surprised he even came out. There was an article that came out that said J.J. McCarthy stays another year, he goes in the top 10. If he comes out now, he slips to the back of the first round. And then, of course, Kwesi surprised everybody, jumped up and took him. But I will always wonder that if Michigan would have lost that game to Alabama, if J.J. McCarthy would have went as high as he did. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think.
I think that's a great point,
Terrion
Mike.
Arnold, in fact, that dropped that interception. I could be wrong on that.
And it might not have been Terrion Arnold, but you are right. I mean, think about how close like legacies are defined. I mean, when you look at Matt Stafford, that Jaquiski Tart interception that was dropped in the back of that end zone, what would we be talking about if San Francisco had won that game and Stafford was a one didn't go to the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah,
they would be saying that the Lions won that trade hands down. And
hands down.
And that's just proves to me. And to me, I'm not going to argue one way or the other. The thing is he did drop the ball. Stafford did win the Super Bowl, and he got what they wanted. But that is the line right there, guys. When you really look at that, it's like it wasn't even in his hands. That's how close the line is. It was not in Stafford's hands whether he went to the Super Bowl or not. He had to go off of somebody else not living up to what they're supposed to do in order for that to happen. And I think that goes back into college and even in high school. Like some of these games are decided by just, the smallest of errors or a play that's made or a play that's not made in this case. So it's like JJ McCarthy, if they would have dropped that ball, I think you're absolutely right, Mike. I think that the conversation would be 180 degrees in the other direction. He might have been a second or third round pick if that had happened and they didn't win the championship. And who would the Vikings have taken at 12 then? Like what would they have done? So
I don't know, but Dallas Turner sure turned out to be a good pick. I mean, that was a great pick, probably the best pick Quezzy's ever made. This guy's going to be a wrecker.
Dallas Turner was one of the guys that we thought that we liked, that we were hoping that they would either go there or the best cornerback. It's like I remember the Micah Parsons versus Penei Sewell talk, and the same thing is here. It's like, do you want Dallas Turner or do you want Terrion Arnold? Do you want the best cornerback or do you want the best pass rusher? You need both. I mean, you could argue that we needed both. What a great, you lose Danielle Hunter, you bring in a couple high priority free agents that are really good, like Van Ginkel and Grenard, and then you triple down and draft Dallas Turner. So you may not say pound for pound that you got one player that's as good as Danielle Hunter, but you're not going to blame Quezzy on that one for lack of trying. Let's got to replace that production. So we might as well get three guys to replace that one guy's production. So great pick right there. See, I'm giving kudos to the Vikings. I'm going to give kudos to the Green Bay Packers too.
We do have some big news out of Lions camp last night after our show ended. The main event show, which happens every Monday night at 7 p.m. Plug. They had a night practice. The Lions had a nighttime practice. They had an evening practice. Dan Campbell said he loves this because the games aren't all at 1:00, so he likes to mix up practice when the schedule is like that. We got a lot of night games this year, so he wanted the team to go out and play at night. And we had a few injuries come out this morning. That Ennis Rakestraw with an injury in camp yesterday. Terrion Arnold with an injury yesterday. This is huge. Hopefully they're just minor injuries. We don't know the extent of them at this point, but that's the one place we can't afford to not be healthy is in that revamped secondary. So much is riding on this secondary for the Detroit Lions this year. This is a place we got to stay healthy. And as much as we puff our chest out, we love what we did in free agency. We love what we did in the draft. Injuries can derail your entire season. So if you can make it through the preseason to week 1 and your team is relatively healthy, even just 85% healthy, you're very fortunate in the NFL because this game is brutal. So I'm really concerned about it. I'm excited today to find out the extent of the injury so we get a little better handle on what's going to happen going into week one. I just want this preseason to be over, to be honest. I'm ready to start week one. I know a lot of our audience probably is too.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the injury bug that we'll find anything today, because they usually give the major updates on the injuries on Wednesdays. Is the injury update day. I'm sure that they'll have some type of update for today, but they go through the hardcore. They list everybody that's been injured on Wednesday in their injury report, and they give the prognosis, the doctor stuff on it.
Yeah,
so,
Jahmyr Gibbs also with a hamstring injury. Good call, Jeremy. I forgot about that one. So that one's huge too. And I hate to hear that it's a hamstring. I hate to hear it's soft tissue, because those are lingering injuries. And for a running back, a hammy is a huge deal. And even if it's a tweak, that's something that's in the back of your mind. That's something now that has to be taped up for every game. Just ask Christian Watson. I mean, these are the kinds of injuries that can derail a season for a player. And I hate to see it happen to Jahmyr Gibbs coming into his sophomore year, where everyone's expecting big things. We know that the sophomore slump is real. Running backs typically in their second year do hit a wall. And this is not the year for that to happen to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, but like I say, I don't get too high or too low on any of these injuries, because there's a lot of things that when people they have precautionary injuries. I think that the injuries where they take people out of practices are a lot less during the preseason, because they are trying to save guys. Like it could go anywhere from a hamstring where it tweaked, it's a precautionary, let's take him out of the practice for the rest of the night, all the way up to he may have re-injured the injury that he had last year that kept him out 2 games, and which would put his week 1 status in jeopardy. So there's a big swing as to where these injuries are. Was it I'm pulling you out because it's the precautionary thing, or is this a lingering issue that's going to last a long time? So that question hasn't been answered. I'm not gonna. It is big if it's a lingering injury, but I don't think all those guys have lingering injuries. I don't mind them pulling them off if something that they landed wrong or something like that, and they're just pulling them off for precautionary, because there's been no report on what that is. It's not weeks yet. It's not a bad injury yet. They haven't said whether it's is or whether it isn't. Aleem McNeil, they were pulling these guys off. I mean, Christian Mahogany has some sort of illness. He hasn't even really been able to practice, our 6th round pick. So Jay Mommy said, didn't Rodriguez get injured too? He was injured at the beginning of the preseason. They've been weaning him in. And that's, like I said, there's a lot of these things that you don't know what they are. As far, are they lingering injuries, or is this a precautionary thing? Because sometimes guys can be injured so some guys can get in and play. We got to see these other guys. So let's just put this guy on the injury report because we can, and there's no 90-man roster. There is a lot of that in the NFL, all across the NFL, not just with the Lions. You take precaution with your good players. And the fact that there was a list of really good players from our team, there is a chance that this is a precautionary thing. Let's look at these other guys instead. So
I love this call out by Jeremy B as well, that DJ Reader, who's been nursing a quad surgery, actually. He's been rehabbing an injury. Also, his wife had a baby, which was a cesarean birth. So he's also helping with that, which is good news, I imagine, for DJ Reader and his wife, if that baby's going to be any near the size of DJ Reader. Probably a good thing she had a cesarean.
So
edit that comment out of the rebroadcast, would you?
What's that?
My comment on the C-section. I mean, Dad's 306 pounds. Yeah, I'll take the C-section, please.
Wow. I'm looking through here. Broski's got our whole injury report. Everybody that's been injured since preseason week 1, he's listed every single one of these guys. Apparently, our entire team is injured, according to Broski. Every single guy. Laporta's injured. Aleem is injured. Zeitler's injured. Arnold's injured. Rakestraw's injured. Gibbs is injured. Arnold is injured. I didn't know about Laporta. They've been keeping these guys off. The Zeitler injury, that was the first week. He had a shoulder injury. He's been back to practice for a week. I don't know.
Man,
I know that you're not making it up, but I mean, I could go through your entire injury list too from the beginning of your training camp, and I can list them all out. Any guy that sat out of practice for 5 minutes, he could have tripped on a banana peel and was out for 5 minutes, and you listed all of them. You got every single one of them right. There's nothing. I mean, these guys did leave practice at one point in time during the 4 weeks of training camp. All of the guys that you had mentioned, you are correct. But Zeitler had a shoulder injury and returned to practice. Laporta was nursing a hamstring injury and returned to practice.
Man, I don't know about these Packer fans, man. Even Steve, who's the best Packer fan I know, right up there with A-Dub. Steve is such a good, but they all had these same symptoms, these same qualities, that they're with their guys until they're gone, and then it is turn your back. I mean, it's not like these Lions fans who were rooting for Stafford after he was gone. I mean, the Packers fans draw a line. I mean, they love Quadzilla, they love AJ Dillon, but now look at this comment by Steve. It doesn't concern him at all. He'll either be moved, fullback, or cut. I mean, it reminds me of when Devontae Adams was leaving in 2021. Come on, Devontae. You'll be the number one. Run it back, Devontae. And as soon as he signs with the Raiders, we don't want him anyway. I'd rather have a bunch of good, solid number twos than one overpriced guy. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Come on, Aaron, stay. Don't do this, Aaron. As soon as he's gone, we don't want him. It's Jordan Love's turn anyway. I mean, you guys are loyal. I'll give you that, but man, you are brutal when a guy leaves the fold. When you leave the pack, it's like a cult. Sure. It's like a cult.
And no need to be defensive. I'm not saying that you're making it up, and I'm not being defensive, broski. This is a Lions show, and I don't want somebody that isn't a fan of the team to bring up old stuff that has already been worked out like 2 weeks ago when I talked about it, I don't want you to bring up old stuff and take the rest of the Lions fans that are coming on here for information to think that these are new things, broski. I'm not saying you're saying bad things or that you're saying untrue things. I'm saying that you're saying dated things for my team. The newest injuries are Aleem McNeil, was mentioned. Terrion Arnold was mentioned. Rakestraw was mentioned, and Gibbs was mentioned. Everybody else that you mentioned was not correct to the day that we're on. We do a daily show here. I'm not going to go back and be like, 2 weeks ago, Zeitler showed up on the injury report. I'm not going to do that because I already spoke on Zeitler and what that would mean 2 weeks ago, and then he returned to practice. So I'm trying to make sure that you don't put wrong information out to the fan base that I'm trying to cater to the most, which is the Lions fans, because this is a Lions show. You're more than welcome to be on here, but I am not being defensive. I'm trying to keep correct information out there. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that you're late.
I think you and Broski have a zodiac conflict.
Yeah,
I don't know what sign he is, but
he likes to agitate the Lion fans.
I know he takes everything you say the wrong way, and you take everything he says the wrong way. And as an outside observer, I'm like, what are you guys beefing about? You basically agree. I think it's a zodiac clash here. Put it in the comments, Broski. We want to know what's your sign. So I'm going to look that up on the zodiac book and see if you and Russ are just natural zodiac astrological enemies.
See, broski, right here in our Zodiac conflict. This is how you ask for injury updates. You don't ask for injury updates and then list 9 guys that aren't on the injury update for today. You You ask for injury updates, and then I will give them to you. I'll give you the latest ones, and I did that. I thought I did that, right? My only problem is when you add people that aren't on today's injury list, since this is a daily show. I'm not trying to. Let's see. Nate Davis isn't playing. Tevin Jenkins just got hurt. Your starting left tackles. See, you see, come on. Let's not get into this injury slinging contest right here. We've given the injury updates.
Really interesting. The Lions don't play the Vikings until week 7, and they don't play the Packers until week 9. So all of the division games for the Lions, most of them, I should say, are backloaded on the back end of the schedule. So it will be interesting to see what the health of these teams are when they face each other, right? I think it's the Bears. We don't even play them until Thanksgiving is the first time we play the Bears. So everything we're talking about now is going to be a moot point by then. There'll be new injuries. Guys we're talking about now will be healed. So when these two teams go at it, I want to see you and Broski going at it too.
Hey, it's going to be good. The thing is like I can tell that the team is garnering a lot because we don't usually have this many people from the other teams coming on to the show and talking trash and trying to get under our skins and everything like that. Zeitler is back to practice. Thanks for the update. Yep. And by the way, DJ Reader has been injured the entire time. And we've known that he's been injured the entire time. And the update on DJ Reader, I guess, since you mentioned him, is he may play week 1. And that's never been in question, that he might play week 1. He might miss week 1. Okay. As far as Zeitler goes, he should be good to go unless something is re-injured or out there. They took him out for precautionary. Laporta has been, I think that he did something to that knee, from last year when he had that. He did something in the offseason to help get that better.
They're saying it's a hamstring.
It's a hamstring. So that's an issue going into week 1. But the thing is like we're trying to get these guys available for the whole season. We want the long game. Like when it comes to like Jahmyr Gibbs, if it's like you said, soft tissue, we have David Montgomery, and we like what Simon Vodke and Craig Reynolds are doing. You can give. That's the good thing about having 2 1,000-yard rushers, is because if one of them is injured, you can lean on the other one. And right now, I like David Montgomery as a guy, and even if Jahmyr Gibbs could be available for that week 1, but you could take an extra week or 2 to have him make sure that injury is completely healed. I would rather them do that. What do you guys think about that? Like, let's just say that this Jahmyr Gibbs injury is a little bit worse than we think that it is. Let's not rush him back. What do you think? Do you think that they should try to get him nice and healthy and get him in there for week 1? Or do you like the precautionary? Do you think that we can lean on David Montgomery in the depth of our running back room if he has some kind of injury? Would you give him an extra week to make sure, that you can get a fully healthy Jahmyr Gibbs? What do you think, Mike?
I think you set him down and you don't play him at all until the game 1. That's what I think. Jahmyr Gibbs is too valuable to this team. He's a real asset. He's an asset to your fantasy team. And for that reason alone, for Russell Wayne's fantasy team alone, he should be benched until week 1.
For I don't have him on my fantasy team. I mean,
I thought you had him in a keeper league.
Now I have Amon-Ra St. Brown in a keeper league. So I'm going to say be precaution when it comes sit down and get more Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta targets. Because I have the other 2 Lions guys on my keeper league.
Well, Jahmyr Gibbs is too valuable to this team to risk it. He didn't play in the first preseason game. I mean, Dan Campbell came around and said the starters aren't going to play. Whether he was injured or not, Dan Campbell said the starters probably aren't going to play.
Oh man, I I think it's so for me it's hilarious to like look through our comments and then you're watching different fan bases interact with each other and it really comes in any of your guys, Mike, that you like right now preseason. It's just preseason. You need
Right.
to pump the brakes on that. Oh, all of my guys? Oh, shoot. My guy was 5 for 7. My guy was 5 for 7. He's going to the Pro Bowl, all pro. We're winning the division. Our rookies are the shit. And that's like every fan base from their point of view. I'm watching JJ McCarthy. Yeah, you better do 2s and 3s. He ain't nobody. All the Viking fans. Oh, JJ McCarthy, 2 touchdown passes. He's the second coming of Tom Brady. He came from Michigan. Tom Brady was from Michigan, which means he's gonna be Tom Brady. Yes. Then there's Green Bay Packer fans. I know it was only 10 games, but we're the Green Bay Packers. We have won championships after championships. So, therefore, our 10 games, not Jared Goff's 10 games. You pump the brake on Jared Goff's 10 games. But Jordan Love's 10 games is worth every penny of that $55 million. Jordan Love will be our 3rd Hall of Fame quarterback in a row.
Hard to argue with it. They haven't finished last in the division since I had a full head of hair. That was a long time ago.
But it seems like the Lion fans are the only ones that are like realistic to it. Like we're harder on our team. Oh shoot, man, who's going to step in for that 3rd backup offensive lineman position, Mike? Who's going to be our number 5 wide receiver, Mike? Oh my gosh, we got to worry about all these other things. That's a Lion fan because we have PTSOL. We're so used to losing that we just think that they're going to pull the rug out from underneath of us. Packer fans, oh my gosh, they've won so much. They're so used to winning that they're just like, yeah, my 6th round draft pick's going to the Pro Bowl this year. And you're like, yeah, they are. They are going to the Pro Bowl this year because they're the Packers and it's Jordan Love and he is going to be the guy. He might be the guy. But Jared Goff might be the guy too. He's the one that won the division last year. He's the one that, but we can't be confident about our guy. Don't be confident about our guys. We shouldn't be because we have this. Where's our guy right there? There you go. This is what we suffer from. Post-traumatic, same old Lions. I wish that we could have the confidence of these Bear fans. God, those guys draft 2 guys, and guys, we're 15-2. We're going to the Super Bowl, year 1. You guys aren't ready for us. It's like you won 7 games last year. And I envy it. I envy the confidence, guys. Like, how do you get that much confidence? Like, we win the division, go 12-5, go to the NFC Championship, and we're trying to see if we can make the playoffs this year from a Lion fan perspective. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't some Homer Lion fans that are out there saying 15-2, but the majority of the Lion fans are here. I mean, they never won the division before. Look, we're going to win 2 divisions in a row. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of things can go wrong, Mike. In our season, I don't know. Should we have all this confidence, Mike?
Hey,
should we?
Preseason. Everybody's confident in the preseason.
Except for Lions fans.
Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And that offensive line of Detroit's going to be a bear for anyone this year who has to play us. So it's all about injury, right? It's all about staying healthy. On paper, the Lions have the best starting from 2 to 53 in the division, and I don't think that's really debatable. Even Packer fans and Bear fans can admit that this team is now loaded with talent. The Super Bowl window's open for this team. So,
I don't think that they agree with us.
Be confident. I think all the teams in this division have a reason to be confident. Besides the AFC North, this is the toughest division in football now.
I agree with that. I do agree with that part of it because the NFC North will be the strongest division. It might be the strongest division in the league.
No, AFC North is stronger probably with the Bengals, Ravens, Browns, and Steelers. Those are all playoff teams.
Okay, from last year, yes. I mean,
nope.
There's a lot of people that think like a team like are you really that confident in Joe Burrow?
100% that confident. The team is very good around him. They almost made the playoffs last year without Joe Burrow. With Jake Browning playing quarterback, they almost made it. They finished 9-7, or 7, yeah, somewhere around there. 9-8, I think they finished. But they almost made the playoffs as it was. The Cleveland Browns went in at 11-5. The Ravens had the best record in the league. The Steelers made the playoffs. So 3 of those teams made the playoffs last year. So yeah, they're the best division in football. Well, and they cannibalize each other in the competition there. They are so competitive against each other. That Steelers Ravens is probably the best rivalry in the whole league.
Well, but now think about that. What about the Lions? We were 12-5. The Packers made it in at 9-8, and then there were 2 teams that were 7-10. And didn't you just say that this division got a lot better?
Correct.
So the 2 bottom teams finished 7-10, and they got a lot better.
Yeah,
we got a lot better. The Packers got a lot better. So wouldn't it go to say that we might have 2 double-digit winning teams with another couple teams being 8-9, 9-8?
Yeah, but I still think this division finishes second behind the AFC North, even with all that said.
But I'm making an argument that there's also a possibility that the AFC North might finish second behind the NFC North. Mm-hmm. It's possible, especially if the Green Bay Packers are as advertised. If they make that jump and we are going neck and neck, and Caleb Williams is who you say he is, and man, we're gonna have to worry about this guy, right? That's 3 stud quarterbacks right there. What are you talking? Maybe 3 top 10 quarterbacks if this shakes out right there, and Goff probably the one on the back end of it just because he doesn't move in the pocket.
Right. We could see it this year where the NFC North produces 3 playoff teams for sure. That could happen. And the Bears with a rookie quarterback on the back half of the season. That's one thing that does bother me is that we don't get Caleb Williams early in his career. We don't get him until Thanksgiving. So he's had some time to take some lumps and the game has slowed down for him. So that's going to be concerning for me. And then Broski puts here in the comments that he thinks the Bears match up well against the Lions. I agree, Broski. You have a very strong secondary. We're a little weak at wide receiver. We're a little thin, I should say, at wide receiver. Your offensive line is the question mark on your team. Our defensive line is a question mark on our team right now. We don't know who's going to be rushing the passer opposite Aiden Hutchinson. And DJ Reader has an injury history coming onto that defensive line. We've already lost Kaminsky. So I agree 100% that the Bears do match up well against the Lions. I think we saw that in the 2 games against the Bears last year, where they beat us in Chicago and they almost beat us in Detroit. So we scored 12 points in 4 minutes to pull that game out, or we would have got swept by the Bears. So I absolutely agree with that, Broski. The Bears are going to be tough, especially against matchups. When you look at Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze, we are counting on our new secondary to be able to hang with those guys. And then you've got Cole Kmet coming off the line as a tight end, a good, solid tight end. Lions historically have had a hard time against tight ends. They've been the worst team in the league statistically against the tight end. So 100% agree with that, Broski. It's a tough matchup, but I think there are some intangible things that the Lions win that battle hands down, and that is experience at the quarterback position. We have a better running game at this point, a better offensive line at this point. So we'll see. DeAndre Swift, by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, he might have a sprained toenail and have to miss the game. But in his defense, DeAndre Swift's been pretty damn healthy since he left Detroit.
Yeah, And this is the thing. This is what I love about Lion Fan, because that was a tremendous show of respect for what the Bears have done. Really, when it comes to the player personnel, what Ryan Poles has done there, like if you're just going player personnel, the Bears might be the scariest team, like the biggest threat. But the thing that I think where Green Bay has them hands down is LaFleur's a much better coach than Eberflus, and I think that's where it fails. That's where I think that the Bears, they got a whole bunch of players that reminds me of that Eagles team that got Asumwa, and they had the two great cornerbacks, and they're like the dream team. And it's like you got a lot of players that have never played with each other before, and you got a coaching staff that has been proven not really to be that good. So Caleb Williams might be able to save Eberflus's career, but I'm never going to be convinced that Eberflus is a good coach.
Well, if you remember last year, the Bears did not start out well, and everybody was talking about how Eberflus was on the hot seat. And then they had a Monday Night Football game against the Washington Commanders. And everybody was saying that Eberflus, this game could be the end of Eberflus. And they came out and played, hands down, their best game of the season. Justin Fields had his best game as a pro. You remember some of them dimes he was throwing to DJ Moore in that game, and they trounced the Commanders. And that was a turning point in the season for the Bears, because the following week they got Montez Sweat, and Matt Eberflus took over calling the defense. He's a great, great defensive coach, Russ. Whether he's a good head coach or not, I mean, that's debatable. But I definitely think that he is the weakest coach in this division. But the players love him, and they've already proven, like they did against Washington, that when it comes down, they will play hard for this man. So it will be interesting. The one overriding thing for me, though, is that Matt Eberflus was not a Ryan Poles hire. And right. We've talked about this before. If Ben Johnson goes to Chicago, look out.
Yeah, I'm not 7-10 does kind of put him in that bad coach spot, but it is what it is. You got different personnel now, and you can save it. And if you're a believer in Eberflus, that's fine. Extend him, like let him be there. But I believe what you believe. I believe that Eberflus gives them a built-in excuse to fire everybody at the end of the year if this don't work. And unfortunately for the Bear fans, if Caleb Williams does bail him out, you might be stuck with Eberflus for a little while.
Right.
And I don't think that he can outcoach the best coaches because the thing is like there's no doubt in my mind that the Bears are a better team. It's not as hard to make it into the middle of the pack as people think that it is. It's getting to the top end where you're talking like the top 4 or 5 teams where you can actually coach against Andy Reid. Who are you coaching against? I mean, it's something to think about. We just got to 11 o'clock, so we're going to invite all of the people that are over here from the Huddle Sports Network. Thank you for jumping over it, because we turn into a pumpkin at 11 o'clock over there, because the Huddle Sports Network has a lot of good shows, and the 11 o'clock show starts over there, and we don't get to interrupt that. But sometimes we go a little bit over, which means that we're still over here on the Villain Squad page. We're still here on the YouTube page, JC Sports, the Detroit Lions News Podcast with Joe Chapp and the boys. So welcome, Huddle Sports Network over here.
And I got to bounce, Russ. Have a great day, villains.
Great day. Great ones. Mike, that is Main Event Mike. That is his. You can catch Mike. I got to plug in my laptop. 1 second, folks. You can catch Mike on Mondays. Monday nights at 7 p.m. And then that is the Main Event Football Show. Dun, 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 dun. He talks some football. Let me get him in here. He talks NFL football. He didn't like that picture of Roger Goodell in there. He hates Roger Goodell. But I just want to, he's the representative of the football right there, but it's mostly Lions in here, but we do invite all of our other people in there. Thank you to everybody that is watching the program right now. I'm going to get this other music in here because I don't have to be done, but I can get in here. But I love talking with Broski. Broski, yeah, I love that you get under my skin a little bit. It's good. It's good. It's good for the soul to be it's good to be challenged, right? Or maybe you bring up things that I might forget. And I appreciate that, even though it gets under my skin. I don't like talking about my injuries. It is part of the game. I don't want my season to be derailed because of injuries. And so far, so good. It hasn't been, our seasons haven't been derailed because of injuries and some of these chances that Brad Holmes takes by bringing in these guys that are injured, because it works a hell of a lot more than it doesn't. And I actually like the fact that Brad Holmes isn't going to free agency to try to plug the holes on a team, like the long-term holes. It's not long-term answers in free agency. But this is the main event football show with Main Event Mike. You can check them out on Mondays. It's good preseason talk. Luckily, we only have 2 weeks left, and then we're going to get into a real game. And then you'll get all of these lies that they tell during preseason, trying to keep their cards close to their vest. And that's what they do in preseason. All the teams do it. You don't really want to show anything in preseason. That's why I don't put too much into the stats. You don't want to show a ton in preseason. What you want to show is that your players kick ass real quick, and the quicker they come off the field in preseason, usually is the better, because you're playing checkers. Preseason is playing checkers. You're not game planning. You're not trying to set somebody up. Because one of the best things that not Brad Holmes, but one of the best things that Ben Johnson does as a coordinator is he'll set you up with a look early, and then he'll do something opposite later and get a big play out of it. He'll set something up in the first quarter. He'll set something up in the first game to do it in the 8th game. And that's the chess game. That's the game that you're not going to see in preseason. Preseason is, I want to see my personnel in this play, in this situation. And then the next situation is a completely different situation. You're not trying to chain plays together in preseason. You're just running plays. Checkers, king me, moving my piece one spot. Chess, that's where you're trying to set up the coordinators. You're trying to show them a look to where they think it's one thing, and then all of a sudden, oh no, it's this guy out of the backfield. You want to do that. You don't do that in preseason. We realize it really fast when we're watching preseason. We get so excited for the preseason, and then 5 minutes into it, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's not even going to be on the team. Most of these guys aren't even going to be on the team in 2 weeks, and I got to watch them play. It is what it is. Sarah was in here a couple days ago. She's in here right now. Sarah. I'm not seeing Sarah in here. She might have been in and out of there, but she gave a suggestion. We might be trying something. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but starting on the Steelers game, I want to do an audio game coverage. The Villain Cast. We'll have it on there. Be calling the games. Want to experience part of the game with us? I'm not going to show the footage, but we'll do an audio version of it. Mike wants to take his shot, put his hat in the ring over, calling the play-by-play. So I'm probably going to do this first one on my own just to see if we can't get this thing working. Because I don't want to get kicked off of my YouTube. I don't have a lot of YouTube subscribers for the Villain Squad. And so we're going to put it exclusively on our YouTube while we test it out. The Villain Cast. Steelers versus Lions. It's the home game. With your host, Russell Wayne. We're going to start coverage at 12:30. So let's frickin' go. Yeah. So I hope everybody's has a great day. I wish the best for you guys. Because it's faith, family, and football on this show. Faith, family, and then football in that order. You may be a Bear fan, you may be a Viking fan, you may be a Packer fan or a fan of a different team other than mine. And I won't hold your poor taste in teams against you, because as human beings, we're all human beings, and I want you to hit your goals. Like, say a blessing over your life, that the things that you're putting your mind and your effort into, I pray that you reach those goals. I pray that you reach any of the aspirations that you have, anything that you're working for. I pray that it comes to fruition. I pray for your family, that you're healthy, no matter what team that you root for. I pray that good things happen in your life, that blessings happen in your life. And I'll leave you with this, like I leave every show right here. But may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow morning for the Lion Villain Report. Peace out.
Hey yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, candles open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lies of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your